Hey guys, this is Sam. Welcome back to another episode of I Don't Have to Use It, but I Have to Have It, aka another tiny camera. Today we're talking about the Rollei 35S. If you watched my previous video, you know I already tried this tiny camera. This is the Lomo LCA. I cannot say I'm a big fan of, so I keep wanting to have a better pocket camera to pocket around with. That's why I picked up this. The Rollei 35 series is very popular. Stanley Kubrick used it, the late Queen used it, cute anime girl used it. So I'm gonna give it a try. So as usual, we're gonna talk a little bit about the history, the models, the price of this camera, and I'm gonna walk you through how to use it from loading it to unload it, and then I will show you 4 rows I shot with this camera so far, and in the end, we will discuss what I like and dislike about this camera. The Rollei 35 camera was first manufactured in Germany. Later, it's also been made in Singapore. The first Rollei 35 camera was introduced in 1966 and remained in production until 2015. It is one of the longest running camera model in history. Wait, I feel like I said the same thing when I made the FM2 video. Over the years, Rollei released several different models of the 35 camera, each with their different features and improvement. The one I have here, it's the Rollei 35S. Just like the Nikon FM2, this camera also has 2 different looks. One is the one I got here, and another one is a fully black body. I kind of wish I have the fully black one because all my other 35 cameras are all black. I'm OCD like that. Anyway, this is not important. There are so many different models of this camera. You have the 35 original, the 35T, the 35S, the 35TE, the 35SE, and so on. And on top of that, you also have a whole bunch of special editions. Makes this camera very popular, not just for photographers, but also for collectors. I mean, collectors who's also photographer, right? That makes me wonder if there's anyone who has no interest in taking picture, but want to collect cameras. Would anyone do that? The price of the Rollei 35 camera can vary widely depending on the model, the age, the condition. It can range from a couple of $100s to thousands of dollars. The later model of this camera tend to have more advanced feature like the titanium body, a better metering system, the self-timers and stuff. So the later model tend to be more expensive. And check this out. In year 1980, Rollei released a limited edition gold version of the Rollei 35, which was plated in pure gold. And you can buy this on eBay for $2,500. Do you want one? Can you imagine holding this on the street? Despite its small size, the Rollei 35 was a very popular series of camera among professional photographers. For how small and compact it is, it's very ideal for travel and for street photography, and its high quality lens ensured sharp and clear image. The lens I have on my Rollei 35S, it's the 40mm f2.8 prime lens. 40mm is kind of interesting to me because I'm more familiar with the 35mm and then the 50mm coming from digital camera, but the 40 was sitting right between. I mean, look how tiny this lens is. I mean, look how tiny this whole body is. It's so cute, but for how small this camera is, it packed everything in it. Unlike the Lomo LCA, when I shot with this, I feel like there is nothing I can control. But with this, you have all the control you would want with a typical 35mm camera. And alright, let's take a look all the levers and the buttons on this camera. First of all, let's look at the bottom of the camera. Flip this lever here to unlock the film back. Unlike the regular 35mm camera, this film back will detach completely from its body. And flip open this pressure plate and you put your film in here. You pull the film out, stick the end into the take-up spool, and then advance it. Before you close it, make sure your film is securely catched on this take-up spool. And then you close this pressure plate and then slide this cover back in, lock it, and your film is loaded up. If you want to use the built-in light meter on this camera, you can put a battery in. The battery compartment is hiding in this film chamber. You can use a coin to open this up and put a battery in. I did not use the built-in light meter when I was shooting with this camera because I did not find a battery. To start shooting, you need to first of all pull this lens out. Press this button right here and pull it out, and then turn it until you cannot turn anymore. This is your on and off button. If the lens is not in shooting position, your shutter would not release and your advance lever would not work either. On the top of the camera, you have your advance lever. Keep advancing until you see number 1 showing up in this frame counting window right here. If you have a battery and your light meter is working, first of all, you want to set your film speed by turning this tiny wheel right here. And then you can look at this window. There are 2 needles in this. When this 2 needles line up, that means your exposure is correct. Again, when I was shooting with this, I don't have a battery and I cannot tell you how accurate this internal light meter is. If you ever use this camera and if you ever used the light meter on this, please leave me a comment below and let me know how you feel about it. And now let's go back to the front of the camera where all the action is happening. On one side, you have your aperture ring. You need to hold down this little lock here to turn it. And on the other side is your shutter speed. And to focus, you turn this tiny little ring on your tiny little lens. Focusing is the most complicated part about this camera, since your viewfinder does not look through the lens. Did I mention this is a rangefinder camera? Or is it a rangefinder or is it more of a point and shoot? We'll get to the whole focus thing when I'm showing you the pictures I take with this camera. One thing you got to be mindful is when you push this lens back in, you must advance the film first and then press down to this button, turn it, and push it back in place. If you don't advance, it won't go back in. Once you finish the whole roll, turn this lever upwards and then fold out this crank down here, and then you can roll the film back up. This whole camera at first looks very complicated. That's because how small it is. They packed everything you will need for a manual 35 camera into this tiny little body, which is amazingly designed. That's why I said I don't have to use it, but I have to have it. Alright, now let's go through the 4 rolls I shot with this camera so far. The first test roll was shot on Alpha HB5. I got a blurry photo, a blurry photo, another blurry photo, and a whole bunch of blurry photos. Out of 36 frames, I only have very a few of them are actually in focus. Guys, I tried to gauge distance, guess distance. But obviously I have very bad sense of distance. I am that kind of a driver who would stop miles away from the red light. So if you see me on the road, stay away from me. So you see, rangefinder is that type of camera when you look through your viewfinder, you don't actually look through your lens. So you cannot see where your focus point is at. So you have to look at your focus range and guess your focus distance. After the first blurry roll, I looked into some solutions. The first one being using a laser meter. Not to say it's kind of weird pointing laser at things or people on the street. I feel like adding a laser to this camera kind of defeats the purpose of using such a tiny camera. So that's a pass. And the second solution being learn how to actually gauge distance. I tried meter my arm and meter my feet, use my thumb. There are a lot of good video and articles out there that can teach you how to read distance accurately. It's definitely gonna take some practice, and this is also where I started to get into zone focusing, hyperfocal distance, and all that. And long story short, in the end, I decided to try something different, which is simply closing down my aperture and create a bigger depth of field versus how I would normally shoot at wide open. Then I started my second roll. I used an expired HP4 to continue practice. On a bright sunny afternoon, me and my friend Ravel went on a photo walk together. I have a 100 speed black and white expired film in this. I've been shooting 50 ISO. I start shooting FA and higher. Once again, I think these photos would look better in color. Maybe I should just stop shooting black and white altogether. Anyway, I slowly started to get the fun of just frame and shoot. And don't need to worry about the focus much. The FP4 is a 125 ISO film. Since it's expired, I was shooting at 50 ISO. I was very limited by the low speed. And then I decided to shoot a higher speed film that I can really close down the aperture. So I shot a roll of CineStill 800T. I have a strategy, which I'm gonna basically just use aperture 8 and above. That's like 8, 11, 16. And that way I have my focus range from like 8, 10 feet out to infinity. I'm just gonna try that today. Hopefully it works. Wish me luck. And instead of shooting it at 800, I shot it at 400. I forgot why I did it. I have a 400 speed film and an 800 speed film. Which one should I shoot?
800 if you like to overexpose a little bit. You could rate it at 4.
And using the Sunny 16 rule, put the aperture at 16 in the bright sunlight. The shutter speed is the same with the ISO, which is 400, and then you work from there. I feel like I'm slowly losing my voice again. Hey guys!
Hi.
You guys look really cute here. Can I take a picture, you guys?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Alright! I like the CineStill 800T during the day for portraits. I don't know how I feel about these non-portrait shot though. I did develop this film myself. My processing might not be good enough to get better and more accurate color yet. I kept some of these with this very aggressive, vibrant blue tone. Oh, I think we just find a vintage car place. Oh my god, look at all this! Oh! This looks so cool! I do like how these red turned out though. I overexposed these couple of ones. The red turned out almost orangish. Then I took another one, underexposed a little, and they turned out very differently. Which one do you like more? And this is my favorite shot on this whole roll. After the photo walk, I still have a couple of frames left. I went to a late night movie that night and finished the roll. Not gonna lie, sitting still 800T in daylight, it can really be hit or miss. But when I shoot it at night, I really like the color. That's such a cute car, and I just shot my last frame. Oh, if I didn't take the double shot of the last frame, I'd have one more shot to shoot this cute car. At this point, I felt a little better and a little more comfortable with this camera. Then me and G, we went on a short trip. I brought this camera with me, but unfortunately, I got really sick for that whole trip. I only managed to shoot one more roll before we have to head back to Rollei. I was so upset with myself. Drink water, stay hydrated. You, Sam, you, talking to you. This guy's like, I'm not afraid, I'm not fly away. But of this one last roll, there are actually quite a few photos that turned out very nicely. And I'm finally be able to capture people and action on the street again. I'm very happy about that. This leads to my favorite thing about this camera is the size of it. This is a wonderful street photography camera. It's so tiny, it looks like a toy. It's so tiny, nobody would care if you snap a picture of them. And also the shutter sound, it's so light. I mean, I'm right next to a microphone, but on the street, the shutter sound is so very light. Once you get over that whole zone focusing technique, this is a great camera to snap photos on the street. And as a tiny little camera, I'm surprised how sharp and clear these images turned out. I first got this camera for just everyday carry and everyday lifestyle candid photo taking. But after seeing these images, I feel like I can take actual photos with this. In the end, what I dislike about this camera. My dumbness. My dumbness is what I dislike about this camera. Yep, that's right. I dislike this camera because I don't know how to use it properly. But for real though, since this is a rangefinder camera, my framing often came out a little off. A lot of these pictures, I have to crop them to make the frame I thought I was looking at. Does that make sense? So there is that. Oh, and I also tried a couple of shots with flashlight, but I haven't quite 100% figured out that part yet. So I think we definitely gonna shoot with this camera more. Alright, this is it for this week's video. I hope you enjoy it. If you do, comment, like, subscribe, and all that. This is Sam. I will see you next time. Bye!